This is Tiger Palafox with Tiger's Tip. We're going to talk pruning right now. It's the time of year to get out there and prune some of those dormant trees and shrubs. First thing you want to think about is any kind of dead branches that may be on them. Cut those and remove those first. Then you want to look for any branches that are crisscrossing or rubbing against each other. That's going to open up for problems later on, so you want to remove those second. Lastly, you look at the overall shape of the tree or shrub. Make sure that you don't have anything growing too far off or too wide. Also, whenever you're pruning, you want to carry a disinfectant wipe. Wipe down your pruners in between the cuts, so that way you can avoid the spread of disease or fungal problems later on. All right, let's get back to the show.
Hey, Tiger.
Hey guys, how's everything going?
Great.
All right, well, we got all the stuff here. We're ready to get started on the landscape. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
All right, well, I always find that starting with the big items first is the way to go. So why don't we go ahead and get those shrubs planted next to that window?
Sounds great. All right, let's go, guys.
All right, guys, so here's the way that you properly plant a plant. What we did, we dug a nice, good-sized hole, something bigger than the root system that's already there, so that way when the plant's roots grow, they're into soft, rich soil. And then what we're gonna do is after we got the hole nice and big, we're gonna put some compost. Now, in this compost, there's things like fir bark and chicken manures and different nutrients. We're gonna put that at the bottom, along with some starter fertilizer in there as well. That starter fertilizer is gonna make sure that the root system grows nice and strong. All right, let's go ahead and bring the tree in here, Tom. So when you're bringing the tree into the hole, you wanna make sure it's nice and straight and that the root ball is level with the existing soil. So now what we're gonna do is make sure to pack the soil around it so that way it doesn't shift anymore. And you wanna make sure to press down really hard. Girls, you wanna help me press down on this? Press really hard so that way the tree is nice and stable and it doesn't shift when you're planting. Make sure, get a good handprint on there. So this one looks good, so why don't we go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, Tom, now I'm gonna teach you how to properly plant some flowers or some perennial or annuals. So we've got this area all ready to go. We've already put some compost down. So why don't you go ahead and drop just the fertilizer over the top of the area before you even dig the hole. And what that's gonna do is when you dig the hole, it's gonna mix it in. So now that the fertilizer's on there, go ahead and start digging the holes.
All right.
All right, Ashley, can I see that plant? So Tom, one thing you wanna make sure that when you pull the plants out of the pots, that you break up the bottom of the root ball. What that does is it tells the plant that it's ready to start growing, and you're gonna make the plant grow a lot faster by doing it. Some plants don't like the root ball messed with, so when you go to the nursery, make sure you ask them if it's proper to do this or not. But with most annuals and perennials, it's okay.
Okay.
All right, here's the first one. Go ahead and get that in the hole. All right, Sadie, you ready for that one? Thank you. Break up the root ball here. We call it just teasing the roots, where you just kind of loosen up the base of the pot. All right, now this one's ready to go also. Why don't you girls go ahead and help pack in those plants like you did before?
Got some dirt around them. Sadie, do this one.
So when you're filling in the soil around the base of the plants, you want to make sure you don't cover up the base because that'll begin to rot it out. So you want the base of the plant level with the existing soil that's already there.
Okay.
All right, so we planted some perennials and annuals here. And just to cover it one more time is when you put the fertilizer down on top of the soil before you dig the hole so it gets mixed in as you plant it. Also, when you pull the plant out of the pot, tease the roots a little bit so that way the roots get started right away as far as they're growing. And then lastly, when you bring the soil back up to the base of the plants, that it's nice and level with the existing soil that's already there so it doesn't rot out the roots. So one of the other things that we're gonna do right now to add a little bit more curb appeal is put together a container pot. And there's three things that go into a container pot, and that's a filler, a spiller, and a thriller. And what that is that you've got your thriller item, something that's gonna be tall, vertical, kind of stands out a lot. You've got your spiller, something that's gonna cascade over the front of the pot, and your filler, something that's gonna fill out all those levels together and get mixed in with all the plants. We've got some great choices here in this wonderful red pot. I've already filled it with some soil, so go ahead and start planting it. Why don't we start with our filler item? This is Euphorbia diamond frost. The white flowers get entangled with all the other plants, It adds a wonderful white contrast to all the green foliage. So it's a real popular plant to use right now for the filler. You got it right there in the middle, perfect. And then when you got them in there, you want to make sure that you're about a ½ an inch below the lip of the pot, because if you're too high, the water's going to flow out. If you're too low, the plants are going to sink into it. So now go ahead and add our spiller. Our spiller is this pink flower. This is a little calibrachoa, and it cascades over the edge of the pot. That's why they're a lot of fun, and they add a lot of color. They love wonderful full sun. So you're just going to kind of get it right there in the front. And again, you just want the plant placed right about a ½ inch below the edge of the pot. Now the last thing we're going to put in here is our thriller plant. This is a Salvia Waverly White. So go ahead and put it here in the back. Now one more thing that I've done is design this plant to be put up against a wall. You can see that it definitely has a front and a back. Sometimes maybe you want a pot that's going to be seen from all around. So your thriller plant is going to be in the middle, and then your fillers are going to go around the edge, and then the spillers on the outside. But if you're going to put it up against the wall or up against some steps, you have a back to it and then you have a front. So make sure you design your pots that way. Okay. So let's go ahead and fill it in with some soil, and this one's all good to go. All right, Jill, we finished this wonderful pot. Where should we put it?
I've been meaning to cover up these sprinklers over here, so I was thinking maybe that would be a good place to put it.
I think it is too. Why don't I go ahead and move it there for you now? Yeah, that definitely works really, really well here.
That looks really good.
All right, Jill, we've got our spiller plant that's going to cascade over the front of the pot. We've got our filler plant that's going to fill out in the middle, this wonderful white Euphorbia diamond frost. And then our thriller plant. This is the Waverly White Sage. It's going to stand up straight, add a lot of dramatic to the pot. So thanks again for letting us come out and take care of your front yard for you.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure being out here. I know that the company coming over is going to really enjoy it. We already had some neighbors come by that definitely enjoyed it as well. So thanks for letting us come out. This is Tiger Palafox with Garden Life TV. See you next time.
I'm Sharon Asakawa from the Garden Life Radio Show, and thanks to the grafted Mighty Tomatoes, now everyone can grow tomatoes like these.
Get ready for the tomato plant that's going to change the way Americans grow vegetables. If you've been searching for a delectable tasting tomato that performs great in your garden, the Mighty Tomato grafted tomato is the answer to your quest. Tomatoes known for their luscious flavor are grafted onto vigorous rootstock. The result? Mighty tomato plants that produce more fruit for a longer season on disease and pest-resistant plants. And since they require less water and fertilizer and adapt to even poor soils, the Mighty Tomatoes are the perfect plants no matter where you live in the U.S. Remember, for healthier, more vigorous plants and bumper crops, be sure to plant the Mighty Tomato.
For a bountiful harvest, don't forget to look for Mighty Tomatoes, Mighty Peppers, and Mighty Eggplant at your local garden center or online.